In the summer of 1914, the world as we knew it vanished forever. What was promised to be a swift journey of glory turned into a profound test of human endurance, stretching across a landscape that changed the course of history. Today, we revisit the era of the Great Conflict, from the defiant stand at the Marne to the technical shifts that redefined modern strategy. This is not just a story of maps and borders, it is a tribute to the resilience of a generation lost to the echoes of time. Let us step back into the years that reshaped the globe. By September 1914, the romanticized image of 19th-century warfare, defined by cavalry charges and colorful uniforms, collided with the cold reality of the machine gun. The German advance, known as the Schlieffen Plan, was a masterpiece of mathematical timing, yet it failed to account for the human friction of Belgian resistance and French desperation. The miracle on the Marne was more than a tactical victory, it was a psychological turning point. When those 600 Parisian taxis surged toward the front, they carried more than just soldiers, they carried the collective will of a civilization refusing to be erased. This moment proved that industrial efficiency could be halted by raw human defiance. As the race to the sea ended in a stalemate, both sides began to burrow into the earth. These were not just trenches, they were the scars of a continent that had run out of room to maneuver. For the next 4 years, the map of Europe would not be drawn with ink, but with the grit and clay of the Western Front. In the spring of 1915, near the Belgian town of Ypres, the introduction of chemical agents signaled a terrifying departure from the rules of engagement. Science, once the beacon of progress and the pride of the Enlightenment, was repurposed for the silent elimination of the opponent. The greenish mist over the Belgian fields did not just affect the lungs of those present, it suffocated the last remnants of chivalry in warfare. From this point forward, the conflict became a total competition of industrial chemistry, forcing humanity to adapt or perish under a sky that had become a source of invisible danger. The year 1916 marked the peak of what historians call the War of Attrition. Verdun was not a battle for a city, it was a battle for the very soul of France. The strategy was a chillingly clinical approach to human loss, focusing on the gradual exhaustion of the opponent's resources. The Sacred Way, a single road leading to the fortress, became a metaphor for survival. If the flow of trucks stopped for even an hour, the defense would collapse. The intensity of the artillery was so great that it created a microclimate of smoke and steel, where the earth itself seemed to be in a constant state of upheaval. While Verdun was about preservation, the Somme was about the tragic cost of the offensive. Groups of friends and neighbors who enlisted together represented the purest form of social fabric, yet that fabric was torn apart in a single morning. Amidst this tragedy, the debut of the first armored tanks provided a glimpse into the future of strategy. These steel titans were the answer to the stalemate, a mechanical solution to a human deadlock. They were clumsy and unreliable, but they represented the moment man decided to hide behind iron to reclaim the ability to move. The trenches were not merely ditches, they were vast, underground cities with their own hierarchies and cultures. Life was defined by a psychological detachment born from the constant threat of the unknown. This period gave birth to a new kind of art and literature, as poets and thinkers began to question the foundations of progress. The lost generation was being forged by the realization that the world they were told to protect no longer existed. By the end of 1916, the world was exhausted, yet the resolution was nowhere in sight. The events of these 3 years transformed the citizen into a cog in a vast national machine. We see the birth of the modern state, the rise of total mobilization, and the tragic irony that the tools built to liberate humanity were now used for its containment. As we look back, we do not just see historical figures, we see our own capacity for endurance and the heavy price of progress. Their story remains a somber echo in our modern world, a reminder that peace is not merely the absence of conflict, but the continuous work of understanding our shared history.